So, we're starting to get into the swing of things of 2021, and I figured I'd make a personal wish list for the year concerning Yu-Gi-Oh! Because why not? This is of course a personal list and is only representative of my own views. I guarantee you there are a couple of things on this list that will be completely unnecessary for the health of the game at large. So in response to that, go make your own wish list video if you disagree and want to tell me what everyone should really be wishing for in their personal wish lists. Anyway. Well, this is a no-brainer, but I want live events to come back. Now I realize this is entirely dependent on your community. Some places have been open for live events. Nowhere around me has, though. I've been playing remote duels plenty, but it really isn't the same. In some ways I will admit it's better, like during combo decks I can watch YouTube while my opponent plays solitaire, but for the most part my games have been becoming almost business-like. I also miss the pre-tourney chatter where folks get to mingle and trade. I also find it a lot easier to get distracted. I think my last 4 tournaments I've ended up dropping a couple rounds in because my friends got on other games, mostly League, and I dipped out. In-person events are a commitment more than just setting up the camera and paying $5, so I tend to stick around. On the flip side, I do want remote duels to stick around even if live events come back because it gives folks without an OTS nearby the ability to play. I really want to see more Legacy Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards come back with new support. As of this writing, the OCG recently released, or maybe showcased for released, Seiryu, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and that's getting all sorts of new cards to turn it into a proper archetype. Seiryu was a vanilla level 8 with 2500 attack and 2300 defense that no one in their right mind would play because Summon Skull existed. And a good example of something similar in the TCG would be, what, a year or two ago when Thunder Dragons got all sorts of new toys to play with. If I had to pick a Legacy card to get new support, I'd probably pick Seal of Orichalcos to get some love. Can't think of what you do to it, but I'd like to see it viable. I'd imagine you'd need main deck monsters that can allow extra normal summons to fellow Orichalcos cards, but even typing that into the script, I can see how that would go terribly wrong and need to be banned immediately. Maybe give us Celtic Guardian support, but I imagine that would be too much of a chore because of the translation from Elf Swordsman. I want to see many of the really expensive cards get reprints, and I think this one is kind of a gimme because the game tends to do this already, so instead of a vague statement, I'll narrow down which specific cards I want reprinted. Ice Dragon's Prison, Forbidden Droplet, and Lightning Storm, 3 generic cards that are great in any side deck. I'm not too worried about Triple Tactics talent. If anything, I just want Called by the Grave off the ban list. I think that was dumb. Maybe Access Code Talker could get a reprint. It's a lot like Boral Sword where it can end games fast, and I'd like cards like that to not be paywall blocked to more casual budget players. Okay, hear me out on this one, but I would like to see a Deckmaster mechanic be brought into the game. Not to go into a completely different topic in video, but I see something like making Deckmasters full art monsters that are summoned to a Deckmaster specific zone after fulfilling certain conditions instead of using certain monsters as materials. So, say you were to inflict 3000 damage to the opponent, you then fulfill the requirement to summon a specific, most likely Blue Eyes, which is what I was thinking for this example, Deckmaster monster that instead of being a 7th monster to potentially hit the opponent with, instead acts like a character skill from Duel Links, allowing you certain bonuses or a one-time use ability. However, they would still count as monsters for easy removal that's already in the game. If that very specific item from my wish list happens to come true in just that way, I'm going to seriously consider playing the lottery. Well, I want a nice round number, so to add a 5th in there, this will be a purely and entirely selfish wish that would likely benefit no one but me playing the game, since as far as I'm convinced, I'm the only one crazy enough to play Toons in tournaments. Give me a Link 1 monster for Toons that either activates Toon World or Toon Kingdom on summon. Or if they wanted to be really nice, this hypothetical Link 1 Toon monster would search out any Toon card, essentially being another copy of Toon Table of Contents that can be summoned off of a Link 1 summon. And if they really wanted to correct all of my childhood Christmases, said hypothetical Link 1 Toon monster would then offer protection to keep Toon World on the board as well. This protection would extend far beyond destruction and even go to encompass banishment and bouncing. Well, folks, that's all I have for you today. By all means, go in the comments and tell me what whimsical desires you have for the game, from the completely plausible that might actually happen, to the completely implausible, like, I don't know, new Guardian support. Don't know why anybody would want that, but hey, maybe you're a big Raphael fan. Anyway, that is all I have for you today. Now go out there and treat each other like you have some sense.